Hello, everybody, and thanks for joining. We've got a few more people logging on, so we're just going to give everybody just a couple more minutes, and then we're going to get kicked off. Again, if you're just joining us, thanks for taking the time. We're just giving everybody just a couple more minutes. We have some more people signing in, so we'll get going here in 2 minutes. All right, everybody, thank you very much for joining us today, this morning or this afternoon, depending on what part of the country you're in. We're going to have Mo jump on and say a couple words. Mo, I'm going to try something here, see if we can get you unmuted just for a second. Just bear with me. Mo, are you? Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I can hear you. There you go. Appreciate you taking the time.
Oh, absolutely. Thanks everyone for joining the webinar today. And I just want to say a couple of words, first of all, of thanks to Mary Ford with CENTEGIX for helping us work through this idea. We really are excited to be able to have something to offer our fantastic sponsors. And so we're going to have more of these webinars from our sponsor level exhibitors. And one of the things that we all are well aware of is that our conference had to move to a virtual platform this past summer. And that makes it very difficult on exhibitors, and in particular our fantastic sponsors. And there's nothing like that, those face-to-face conversations that take place in our exhibit hall, and the opportunity for them to share with you the different tools they have to make your job more productive and to help make our schools safer. And so we're really excited to have this opportunity, and again, be on the lookout for for more of these types of webinars coming down the line from our other fantastic sponsors. I do want to mention that we are full speed ahead with preparing for our in-person national conference in July of 2021. We're back in Orlando, Florida, at our absolute favorite place, Rose and Shingle Creek Resort, and we aim to have that conference in person this coming summer. So I hope you'll join us there. Looking forward to our sponsors being able to be there live and to really be able to engage with you in the full capacity that we're used to. Finally, just to wrap this up, I want to encourage you, as I know you're dealing with a difficult school year, just continue to stay safe and well, and thanks for all you do for our kids across the country. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mo. And from CENTEGIX point of view, we just want to say thank you to all of you again for taking the time and join this webinar. As Mo mentioned, this is a new initiative that NASRO is running with their sponsors. As he said, it has been a tough year, and we're excited to be able to help work through this kind of concept and to be the first sponsor to try it out. So really do appreciate your time, and want to reiterate that at CENTEGIX, we do really value the school resource officers. We see them as an integral part of school safety, obviously throughout all our schools. So thank you for everything you do. We hope that you find the material that we're going to present here valuable. We think we've got something very unique for you, and look forward to sharing it with you and getting your feedback. From a logistics standpoint, just to let you know some housekeeping items. You can ask questions on the screen there. Please feel free to throw a question in there. Please do keep in mind that I'm sort of a one-man band right now, so I will try to get to all your questions. We'll definitely get to your questions at the end. Now, I just had a comment that said that audio is poor. I apologize. I'm working through that. There's sometimes that the stream is better for some people, but not for other people. We will have this recorded, and the recording should have far better audio. So please do bear with us. As we get going here, just for a quick introduction. My name is Rob Kent, and I am with the manufacturer of CENTEGIX. We are one of the sponsors of NASRO. The mission of our company, we are a technology company that's focused on safety and security. So our mission is to innovate technology to save and enrich lives. We're based in Atlanta, Georgia. Right now, these stats might be a little bit old. We are deployed to just over 1,200 campuses and protect about 1.5 million staff and students across the country. Everywhere from very small single school districts all the way up to very large school districts. Hillsborough County down in Tampa Bay, they're one of our customers, and they're one of the largest in the country. To get kicked off here, what I'd like to do is show you a quick video. So there's videos going to pop up. Make sure your sound is up. Give me 1 second here. And it just takes about 60 seconds.
The new security system, it says, will empower teachers and staff to call for help.
Future of emergency response has arrived, and it just takes the click of a button.
Security upgrade to keep students safer in school shootings and another crisis situation.
They would know exactly what building, what hallway, what classroom, and as well as the teacher or the staff member who did make that emergency call.
Teachers will press a button on the badge to send an alert that there's a problem. If it's a campus-wide alert, lights linked to the system will begin to flash across campus.
Responding to an emergency situation quicker than ever before is possible now through this badge.
A great deal of assurances to our parents, to our students, to our employees, and to me personally as a superintendent and our board.
It empowers the teachers to be in control of the safety of their room. They can summon a principal at the push of a button. We know where and we know who. That is powerful technology.
All right. So first, I'm going to apologize. This is my obligatory marketing slide. We all know that the unfortunate need for school resource officers and for security in our schools. Every time one of these big events happens, right, it sort of changes our paradigm on how we approach school safety. And for us, like for many others, it was Parkland. So when Parkland happened, we were actually a camera company. We sold classroom cameras, but also cameras for security. And there's lots of different things that went wrong at Parkland, and we can dissect that in a whole bunch of different ways. One of the things that went wrong were cameras. And so after Parkland, we had to sort of take a step back. And even though they weren't our cameras, just the concept of security cameras in general, we said, if we want to be a security company, if we truly want to keep kids safe, what do we want to do? What do we need to do when we grow up, right? And so we took a step back and had a look at all the different studies. And I'm sure a lot of this is not new to most of you. You're veterans here, right? But we said, so what does the data tell us? Well, one, shooters are going to find a way to bypass access control. We all know that, right? Having locks on doors is great, but if they really want to get in, they're going to get in. And we've seen that play out several times. When there is an active shooting event, law enforcement counts a casualty every 8 to 12 seconds from when that event starts. So it's a phenomenal velocity of casualties. And related to that, most school shootings, they don't actually end until law enforcement confronts the shooter, right? And so it's important to get law enforcement there, school resource officers there as quickly as possible. And then also, and probably one of the most interesting one, is that there's never been a case where a shooter has gone through a locked classroom door, right? So statistically, if you want to keep your kids safe, you get them behind a classroom door, behind a locked classroom door, behind a hard corner as quickly as possible. And statistically, that will keep them safe. And so that sort of leads us to, the category that schools should be investing in, which is proven in all the studies. This is what they point to. If you want to keep kids safe, right, you need to invest in rapid response. It's one of the main reasons that we have school resource officers on campus, right, is to give that rapid response. And so as a company, we said, okay, that is where we want to be investing. That's what we want to help schools do, right? And that's where CrisisAlert came from. Now, if we look at this category, right, of response for security, and I won't bore you with all the details. We have a lot more information that we can go deep on this, but, it starts with wall buttons, and we're all familiar with those. And they're, limited because they're static. And, there's actually a case of a teacher in Georgia just last year who was stabbed by one of her students, and she was about 8 feet from one of these buttons, right? We look at two-way radios, and most of you probably carry a two-way. Most schools have them deployed, and they're okay. They're good for certain things. You can't give them to everyone. They're expensive. They're what we call sort of a dumb technology. And so then we look at the natural evolution, which is a mobile panic button app. And this is what most people are looking at, right? And most people have heard of these. Some of you may have them deployed into your schools. This is actually where we first started looking when we wanted to develop CrisisAlert. And the problem is when you really dive into the capabilities and the sort of the real world scenario and use cases, you find that a mobile panic button app is actually very poorly suited to solve this problem. And again, we have lots more detail and we can go into this in depth, but just at a very high level, we look at adoption rates. The adoption rates for these are very, very terrible. The schools don't own the phones that they give to the teachers and the staff, so they can't force them to install it. And so, we see adoption rates sometimes less than 10%. And that's aside from whether it's configured properly. Obviously, there's dead zones and coverage issues. You all know this. You walk through the schools. There's places where your phones are just not going to work. Related to that, from a location perspective, they rely on GPS. So if you're inside a building, and the building, especially if it's got multiple floors, the location information it's going to give you is pretty much useless. And probably the most interesting one for us, because it's based on a personal story, is this concept that a mobile phone panic button is just too complicated, right? So our CEO, before he joined us, he was a CEO of a different company, and there was an employee altercation that happened. The employee came into his office and was completely irate about something and told Matt, who's our CEO, that he was going to kill him. And Matt's sitting there behind his desk, and his phone is on his desk, and he said, "Siri, call 911. But he's panicking, and so his voice comes out like 3 octaves too high. So Siri didn't recognize him. So he reaches over and he grabs his phone, and his fingers are sweating at that point because he's going into this whole fight or flight process, right? And so he couldn't actually swipe to unlock his phone just to call for help. Now, fortunately, that situation de-escalated a different way, but it's just a really interesting real-world case study on how that mobile panic button app that's on a mobile phone is just not properly suited for these kind of applications, right? So we wanted to build something that was better, and that's where we came up with CrisisAlert, so that if there is a panic situation, when there are those life-threatening things, you have a very, very easy way, the staff have a very easy way to call the SRO, to call for help in order to get assistance. Now, I always stop here because everything that we sort of talk about at the front part of this conversation is around an active shooter situation, right? Well, an active shooter situation, obviously we all need to be prepared for that. We hope it never happens. And statistically, it's not going to happen in very many schools next year, although even one school is too many. But there are all sorts of other things that do happen inside the school that you have to deal with on a day-to-day basis that benefit greatly from rapid notification and rapid response. Now, to me, always, every time I see this slide, the most interesting statistic here is that almost 70% of nurses report dealing with some form of life-threatening event on a school campus in any given school year. That means in a school district that's only got 10 schools, that district is going to have 10 life-threatening events that they need to deal with that year, right? Those benefit immensely in a life or death kind of way from rapid notification, rapid response. So when we built CrisisAlert, we wanted to make sure that not only did it help you address the active shooter situation, but that also you'd benefit from those day-to-day things. So I'm going to show you the system that we've built. I'm going to walk you through that demonstration and show you how it works in real time. And I'm going to show you how it addresses both of these different situations on a day-to-day basis. So what we've built is a emergency notification system, which is based on a card. So you can see this card here, right? It's the same size as an access card. It's just a couple of credit cards thick, right? And there's sort of 4 key differentiators compared to the other solutions that are out there that you may be familiar with. One is obviously the simplicity, right? So it's literally one button, right? It's press button, help comes. It can't get any more simple than that. 2, it's total campus coverage. So, we won't dive too far into the technical details, but this does not rely on cellular and it does not rely on Wi-Fi. We have our own network that's deployed through the equipment that we deploy into the school, which you'll see, which creates a mesh network across the entire campus. From the parking lot to every single room inside of the school to the athletic field, you get full coverage so people can call for help and you can understand exactly where they are. So where they are is a big piece, the location and accuracy. And this is something that most solutions get completely wrong because they rely on GPS. Again, GPS is not good when you're inside of a building or if there's multiple floors. Because of the network that we've deployed, we can provide precision location information in practice to about 6 feet from where someone activated that alert. That gives you, as a school resource officer, very, very precise information so you know exactly where to go to provide assistance. And then finally, audio-visual notifications. So if there is an active shooter situation, if there's a campus-wide lockdown, it's not good enough just to notify your teachers. Schools do drills with their students all the time, so students know what to do in the case of emergency. So it's really important to notify the entire campus so they can initiate their emergency protocol. So we link into audio and visual, as you'll see, to let the entire campus know. Now, as I said, it is badge-based. Every single staff member gets one of these badges. It's sort of the heart of the solution. And this badge will allow those staff members to do 2 different things. It'll allow them to initiate what we call a staff alert, and it will allow them to initiate a campus-wide alert. So keep in mind, there's 2 different types of alerts that they can trigger with this badge. Now, a staff alert, these are all the day-to-day things that happen. A medical emergency, a school fight. It can be an irate parent that comes in. Anything where a staff member feels like they need the assistance of the school resource officer. It's very, very simple, right? They click the badge 3 times, 1, 2, 3. Right? It vibrates to let them know that the message has been delivered and you are on your way to help them. Then we notify you and whoever the on-site responders are in 3 different ways. 1, and this is optional, some schools enable this, some schools don't. There's no additional cost, it's just a preference. We broadcast a message over the 2-way radio. 2, we bring up the command console that you'll see there, right, on the laptop, in the security office or the front office of the school. So you get a map of the school, you know exactly where that person was when they triggered the alert. And we also bring up kind of like an Amber Alert on the mobile phone. So on your mobile phone, you will get an Amber Alert. It will show you a map of the school. It will show you who triggered that alert, and it will show you exactly where they're located. So very, very quick and efficient way for you to get that information you need so you can go provide help. Now, just to reiterate the point, this is not based on rooms, right? This is based on their physical proximity to where they are in the school. So if they're in a hallway, it's going to show you that they're in this hallway. If they're outside, it's going to show you that they're outside. So it allows you to know exactly, precisely where they're located. And again, this is for their on-site campus responders. Now, the other kind of alert is a campus-wide alert, right? So this is the case of an active shooter situation. It's the same badge. And instead of pressing it 3 times, they just continue to press it over and over again. That's a natural response when there's a panic situation that happens. So we have it set to 8 clicks. There's several different things that happen. I'm going to sort of walk you through them one at a time. but they press it 8 times. The badge vibrates, gives you a long vibration so that you know that the alert has been triggered. And there's several different things that happen. One, these strobes that you see here, they're installed in every classroom, every hallway, every common area, every entrance and exit, inside and outside the school. They all start to flash red and they beep. So immediately the entire school has an audio and visual notification that there's an event that's happening. 2, we take over every single screen inside the school with a lockdown message. So the smart boards, the Promethean boards, all the laptops, every single screen gets taken over with this lockdown message so everyone knows that something's happening. We also broadcast a message over the intercom as well. Lockdown. Lock the door. Stay away from the windows. Now that message is completely customizable. It can play in multiple languages. You can have it loop, you can have it repeat, you can have it say whatever you need it to say, right? So again, that same badge, when it's triggered, it will generate that lockdown, which pushes an alert to all of these strobes that are located everywhere inside the school. You can see them here, right? They flash red and they beep. It will play that intercom message. It will take over all the screens. It will notify you in the same 3 ways, the on-site responders. Also, as an option, we can integrate with local law enforcement as well to help coordinate those resources, right? So it can tie directly into 911. It can go directly into the sheriff's office or police department. You can actually have it so the responder app that you have on your phone can be given to every single patrol officer in the community as well. So now you've got patrol officers who know that they need to respond to a very critical event. They know what the address is, and they know specifically where inside of the building that alert was triggered. Very, very effective way for a school to go into lockdown and to get the help that they need very, very quickly. Now give me 1 sec. I'm just going to shut this down as it beeps behind me. Just give me 1 second on this. So, in addition to the badges, and the badges are sort of the heart of the solution, as I mentioned, and they are given to every single staff member. We also, even though I talk a lot about the inefficiencies of a mobile app, we've actually developed a companion app. So while the badge is given to every single staff member so that they can do a staff alert or lock down the school in case they see a weapon or see something that warrants a lockdown, the mobile app, we give this to the security team. We give this to the district leadership, to the school administration. This gives them the ability to remotely push down alerts to the school or to multiple schools. So the scenario for that, which is unfortunately becoming more common today, is there's violence outside of the school but not inside of the school. Well, you don't need to do a lockdown, but you need to do a soft lockdown, right? And so in that case, you pull up your phone, and I know it's going to be hard to see on here, right? You select which campus. In this case, there's only one campus, and you can select the alert type. So I'm going to select lockout, and I'm going to push it down, and now immediately we have a lockout that goes down to all of the schools, right? Screen takeover is yellow and a lockout. Again, you can customize this message. You could play an intercom message. I don't have a message that's played. You can see that all these are flashing yellow, right? Very, very quick and efficient way for you to push these kind of protocols down to all your different schools. Now, we have the system preloaded with protocols based on the I Love You Guys Foundation. It is very, very easy to customize that. It takes about 5 minutes, and you can customize them for your entire school. You shut this one down. All right, just a couple more things I want to show you, which about the capabilities. So here's a view of the command console. Again, when there's an alert that's triggered, whether it's a staff alert or a lockdown, this pops up on in the security office, in the front office, wherever the school wants it deployed. It shows a map of the school, and it shows who triggered the alert and physically where they're located. When we do a deployment, we map the school. So the school provides us with a map. We render those maps and put them into our system, and we geotag the equipment as we deploy it so we know exactly where an alert happens. As we do that, we can actually tag camera zones. So now we have the ability to potentially integrate with video cameras so that when there's an alert that happens, right in the feed of your app, you are able to potentially see, have eyes into that area so you know what's happening. So really, really cool integration there. And then also we do have an analytics dashboard. So you're not going to have a lockdown that happens every single week. Hopefully you never have a lockdown. You do have staff alerts that happen all the time. So last school year, from September 19 to when the schools shut down in March, we had, call it 500 or 600 schools that were live. Across those schools, we had over 20,000 staff alerts that were generated. So these are legitimately used every single day by staff members. Teachers say that it makes them feel safe. It makes them feel connected to the school resource officer. They know that you are just a couple clicks away. If they need your help, it's very, very easy for them to call for that help. This dashboard, once you have a lot of those alerts, it gives the school some really interesting information, because as you close alerts, they have to select what actually was happening, what was the incident. So it gives you some really good information. So you can see, hey, in this school, we have a lot of fights. In that school, we have a lot of medical issues. Hey, there's this one particular teacher who's using it every time a student looks at her sideways. Maybe it's an opportunity for a little bit more training. So it's really, really good information for the district to have. And I know there's a couple questions, so just give me 1 second. I just got a couple more things that I want to show you guys. From a technology point of view, it is very, very simple. You'll see at the very bottom there, the sort of those 4 components are the hardware components. We already talked about the badge. You've seen the strobes. The strobes are completely wireless, right? They're battery operated. The batteries last 3 to 5 years. But we manage everything. We monitor everything. We replace equipment as needed. Because they're wireless, the installation is very, very simple. From a facilities perspective, there's no additional infrastructure they need to deploy. From an IT perspective, there's no additional IT footprint. So it makes this very, very easy for them to deploy. And from a management perspective, there's almost nothing that they have to do. I just want to show you one more video, and then I want to get to some of your questions. So just give me 1 sec here. You should have another video that pops up on your screen here right now.
Well, Crisis Alert, we're all looking for different solutions for trying to address the crisis we face with the school shootings and intruders on campus, as well as medical issues and so on. So when those occur, it's important for us not only to have prevention measures, but also to be able to respond in a timely manner to address those in a timely fashion.
The fact that we're putting that technology in the hands of over 25,000 employees gives me 25,000 sets of eyes on our campus and helps to keep the campus safe.
A system that you have the maps for the schools there. Every teacher or every employee of the school system has the opportunity or the ability to activate.
Not only gives you the real-time location of the individual that initiates the alert, but it also gives you their identity, and it communicates with law enforcement, every site responder in the district, and the entire staff on that campus that there's an emergency and you need to enter your lockdown protocol.
The ability to respond directly to a pinpointed location for any kind of emergency or situation is critically important. Again, timing is of the essence.
Time's going to be quicker. More than one person will be notified. You're not relying just on a walkie-talkie to be on. So the technology allows several people on that site to be able to respond to the assistance for staff at that school right away.
All right. That's it, guys, as far as the presentation and what we wanted to show you. Just wanted to show you the capabilities of Crisis Alert. Just a quick review, and you guys already know this. This is why you're in the school. Response is absolutely the #1 category that schools should be investing in for safety and security. When looking at this kind of system, it's important to understand sort of the best capabilities. It has to be simple to use. If it's not simple to use, no one is going to use it, and it's not even worth the investment. It's got to work both inside and outside and independent of cell and Wi-Fi. That location information is absolutely critical, and it makes your job so much easier. There's no point in you being told that there's an issue at the high school, and then you've got to go in and then talk to people and try to navigate to find out where that issue is. Having that precision location information is absolutely critical. And then it should empower everyone, right? Having a panic button that's sort of on the wall, that's very, very limited. Having this where it's in someone's hand and they can call for help no matter where they are, that is absolutely, absolutely critical. And then also, it's really important to invest for something that's from a day-to-day perspective, not just campus-wide as well. Of course, we all want to prevent and be able to respond to the active shooter events. Again, those are very, very important to be prepared for, but the reality is those day-to-day things happen all the time, and those are the things that you really need help. As Chief Newman said in that previous video, giving you thousands of sets of eyes and ears so you know what's happening, so someone can call you to that location, that is really, really powerful. As far as next steps, and I will get to some of your questions here in just a sec, please, we do want to show your team. You guys are absolutely the influencers. You're on the front lines. You understand what your schools need and how to make them more safe. If you like what you've seen here today, please do reach out. We would absolutely love to show the broader team. I'll tell you right now, we show this to, I've done this presentation probably 200 or 300 times over the last year and a half. Never once have I had a superintendent who said that they felt like it was a waste of their time. Everyone understands immediately the capabilities, and they appreciate when the school resource officers and the security team bring these kind of things to them. So please let us know how we can work with you and get in front of your superintendents. We are classified as an essential business, so we are continuing to work, and we are doing active installs right now, and we're having new districts go live pretty much every week, and we can definitely have your schools up and running during this school year. I'm going to leave this up here so you've got my coordinates. As far as questions, I did have a question on Wi-Fi. So someone said, is it does it rely on Wi-Fi? I didn't go into a lot of the technical details to answer that question. Absolutely not. It does not connect to Wi-Fi. It does not rely on Wi-Fi or the school's network in any way. It is wireless system, but it's its own proprietary system. It's what we call a mesh network. It runs off of a couple of different protocols, but long story short, it's self-healing, and it is fully monitored, and it has complete coverage over the entire campus. Another question here. This is a very good question. For the mobile app to be given to local law enforcement and first responders, is it limited to the number of licenses? No, absolutely not. That is not how we license it. This district is able to provide that app to whoever they feel is essential to have that app. There's no limitation, whether it's inside their organization or outside of their organization. They can give it to as many responders as they need. Other questions? Someone had a question about installation and how quickly it is. So the installation, because this is all wireless equipment, we call it sort of a no-tool installation. They actually connect through magnets into the strap ceiling, and then there is a tether to put them on there, because kids will be kids and they'll knock them down, but they can't pull them down. And so the installation, we can do an entire high school. An evening may be optimistic, but we can definitely do an entire high school in a day. It's a very, very fast installation and onboarding process. Someone asked about training. So as part of the onboarding process, we provide all of the training. So we do training for the administration, we do training for the first responders, and then we do train the trainers so that the districts can incorporate that into their staff training. We provide all of the resources for that to get them up and running. Someone asked if that is me in the picture behind. No, unfortunately not. I do have family members who are in law enforcement. I have friends who have been school resource officers. So again, I do appreciate everything that you guys do and understand a little bit about the trials and tribulations you guys go through. All right, that's it that I have for questions. Again, thank you very much for joining. We really do appreciate it. And Mo and Emily, thank you guys so much for letting us be the guinea pig and try out your new webinar format. I hope you've all found value in it. I know that we have. And I'm going to leave it open just for a few more minutes in case there's any other questions, but please do reach out. Again, appreciate the time, and hope that we can connect with all of you very soon.